Hello there, hello there, everyone. Welcome to the first ever trans roundtable. I've got the best trans people that money can buy, frankly. How are you all?
Cheap.
Cheap.
Yeah.
Good.
Cheap.
I didn't know we were getting paid at all.
Yeah, Kevin, drag me away from the football to watch to do this.
Well, have we dragged you away? Because Ali McCoyce was fucking interrupting me earlier, so I don't know if you are being dragged away. Frankly. Anyway, we'll go from left to right, just because why not? Introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about you, pronouns, and all that kind of business.
No, I have to ask who is the left because I can't see it on my phone. I'm sorry.
That would be you.
That would be you, yes.
Okay. Oh god. Okay. I'm Aiden. I'm non-binary. I'm the neutral person.
Okay, but the microphone is very close to your mouth again.
Again, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
They them. German non-binary. So, I go to the next person, please.
Okay. Well, that's me. I'm Kevin Logan. I'm the disgusting cis scum in the room. Hello. Then there's Lace.
As you can see, I've already been introduced. Hello, my name is Lace. Lace Agar, if you're particularly saucy. Pronouns, they, them. I am non-binary.
Alhana?
That brings me to me. I'm Alhana. You can find me on YouTube as Trans Gamer Girl, on Twitch as Phenomenal Lass, or on Twitter as @AlhanaE. I'm a UK autistic trans woman. She, her pronouns.
Dope.
Hi, I'm Sophia Christina Botha. I'm your all-time favourite physically disabled Jewish South African trans woman. You can read my Twitter at sophiachristinabotha.com and follow me on Twitter at sophiabotha74.
Yeah, and I'm Mix Vivian Wolf on pretty much every single platform you can think of. I'm an anti-fascist and extremist researcher, and I mostly talk about cults and extremism and terrorism, but there's some crossover with the Terfs right there, so that's why I've been called over, I guess.
Awesome.
And just because Kev fancies me, I'm pretty sure of it. Don't tell him I said that, though.
But by the way, we should be encouraging Kevin to shave his beard off and live as the Brummy he really is.
Kev.
Do we not have beards?
Kev.
What?
Kev.
What?
Kev.
What?
Kev.
What?
Viv thinks that you like her.
I can't comment on these scurrilous accusations. There's an ongoing
Scurrilous?
legal proceedings that I don't want to prejudice.
Why is it scurrilous that you might like me? Holy shit. God, get right in there. Okay. No, it's fine. My broken heart will heal in time.
It's one that what do you want me to fucking do? How do I win? How do I win in that situation? I'm either creepy chaser Kev or fucking, I don't know, horrible, like, I don't know, transphobe or something. It's the wokerati. They're coming after me. I've been cancelled.
Are you going to leave the left now?
Okay, well, you're the one responsible for turning James Bond woke.
Yeah. Why not? Fuck it. Yeah. I made Idris Elba. Yeah.
Are you going to be the next James Bond?
Yeah, the fattest James Bond you've ever seen. It's going to be fun.
I think Sean Connery in Never Say Never Again will give you a run.
Time to die. ... of heart disease. Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about trans stuff tonight. Yes. So, it's mainly a UK-based one, but obviously it would be remiss of us not to mention one David Chappelle at some point, I'm sure. Yes. So, the state of trans affairs in the UK is... I think the moniker of Terf Island is becoming, unfortunately, more and more correct over time, isn't it?
It's bad enough to see it from Germany, so...
Yeah, super dire.
Yeah, your family's now got a social democrat government.
Yep, it looks like Social Democrat, Liberals and the Greens will together, and hopefully will finally fix the shitty law we have. It's a bit like the GIA that you have, just 2,000 to 5,000 euros expensive, very dehumanizing, and against the constitution, but nobody gives a shit. So it's since 20 years it's against the constitution, and just nobody cares.
Well, there's now
Good luck.
there's now 2 green members of the German Parliament who are trans.
Yep, 2. Wonderful. The Greens. Yeah.
Whereas in the UK, we have a Terf or an equalities minister.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Who's trust. Who used to be subtle in her dog whistles to the Terfs. Now she's not. She's now saying she has solidarity with Rosie Duffield. And I've actually heard that the Tories are actually trying to get Rosie Duffield to cross the floor. To which my response is, they're fucking welcome to her.
Yeah.
Indeed, yes. Well, that's a fine segue. I need to share my screen with you all, don't I? Boom. There we go. So.
Oh, banging.
Absolutely. Hang on. 1 second. I know what I'm doing. I'm not scuffed at all. Boom. Okay.
Sorry. I came on this roundtable specifically because you told me that it would be scuffed. So, sorry to start on a bad moment, but I feel lied to.
I totally missed this.
Can I just add before we talk about Rosie Duffield and her being a TERF? She's not just a TERF. She's also homophobic. She went on some rants on I think it was the Day program on Radio 4. It was unclear whether she was having a go at people who are bisexual or non-binary. Some people have said it's bisexual people, but basically what she was saying was there are people who are perfectly heterosexual now saying that they're queer. Or not?
Yeah, it's usually biphobia.
Yeah.
Not new, sadly.
That's a pretty common refrain among TERFs, and especially gay gay transphobes. They're you can't just call yourselves queer.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
hetero-presenting relationships are just being erased. Yeah. It's shitty.
Indeed. Yes. So, but she's horrible in a number of ways, and like you say, the Tories are trying to poach her. It just goes to show you that as bad as the Tory government are, the Labour Party, unfortunately, has elements within it that aren't necessarily a great deal better. And this is, of course, Rosie Duffield, who said that allegations against her of transphobia were a communist pile-on, which is very
this
American.
Shit is wild.
Yeah.
This shit is... Okay, so, I hadn't even seen this headline yet. When was that? August the
1st.
August the 1st. So I guess I missed that in a whole bunch of things when she said it was a tedious communist pile-on.
Yeah.
That is batshit crazy and smacks of the whole cultural Marxist nonsense.
Oh yeah. The I don't know if you've heard, but TERFs are now doing the cultural Marxist bullshit.
Oh yeah, no, I know they are. But,
ideology.
There's one thing when TERFs do it, and there's another thing when a member of the Labour Party here in the United Kingdom, which, let's be fair, has had its fair share of anti-Semitism scandals, is when somebody like that is making these kinds of statements, really worrying.
Yeah, okay. Let's not get into. I mean, my opinion is Jeremy Corbyn's not an anti-Semite, and I'm Jewish. So.
I wasn't even saying anything about whether or not Jeremy Corbyn is an anti-Semite. I'm just saying that the whole anti-Semitism scandal was absolutely fucking massive, and we've got an example here of a Labour MP saying something which could reasonably be interpreted to be an anti-Semitic dog whistle, right?
Yeah, and Keir Starmer has been relatively sensitive towards anti-Semitic dog whistles. I mean, he says he sacked Rebecca Long Bailey for posting a link to an interview with Maxine Peake, where Maxine Peake alleged that the neck hold tactics which killed George Floyd were taught by the Israeli Defense Force in workshops with police forces across.
Yeah, but she's also like left wing and a Corbyn supporter. So like, Keir Starmer's sensitivity to anti-Semitism really does.
But what I'm about to come on to is I think Rosie Duffield has gone far beyond what anything Rebecca Long Bailey did. And as far as I'm concerned, Rebecca Long Bailey shouldn't have been sacked. And as you are right, Starmer sacked her because she's left wing. But that was more, the reason he sacked her. But Rosie Duffield is an out bigger, and she's a member of the Labour Party, yes, but I think she's a Terf first. I mean, this is a person who goes on, streams with Graham Linehan, who has been banned from Twitter, who is obsessed with trans people to the extent it's lost him his wife, it's lost him his work.
We're gonna get onto the Glinner stuff shortly.
Yeah.
Should we try and let's get through the story first? Oh god, this transphobia again. A content warning throughout the entire program for transphobia, naturally.
Yeah.
Rosie Duffield, oh god, asked the question. Or posed the thing. I may quote unquote transphobe for not knowing that only women have a cervix.
That's not
yes. Yes, she's a transphobe for it.
She liked specific. Go on, sorry.
Sorry, the statement that women only have cervix is wrong. Trans men.
Yes, indeed, indeed.
And non-binary people.
Yeah,
non-binaries.
And at least one cis guy.
And last week, Savage Javid said that trans inclusionary language is killing people. Yet this is a man who said who said I agree that women don't have cervix. He's the fucking health secretary, so that he doesn't want trans men to go for fucking.
Sorry, how the fuck is trans inclusive language killing people?
It's the fucking opposite.
I just want him to admit that he's the Hood from Thunderbirds.
That's a fucking niche reference.
But there were cases where people didn't get invitations for cancer smears, and then had cancer. So it's the opposite. Not inclusivity kills people, but they don't care.
True.
And well, I suppose you could
trans people are responsible for everything. Haven't you learnt this by now?
I suppose you could make the argument, if you were a complete fucking idiot, that calling trans men means they wouldn't get those letters for cervical smears, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case in some ways, because most of us know a trans woman who has received one of those letters for a cervical smear, right? So, like, clearly they're not particularly good at that kind of administrative stuff, right? Yeah. So, like, I could see how that could be the case. The answer isn't to go, we're not going to use any inclusive language. The answer is to sort your fucking system out so that you have people's trans status on their medical records, because it does need to be there. It doesn't need to be on your driving license, doesn't need to be on your passport, but like on the medical records, it makes sense to have it there.
There are enough people who avoid going to the doctor because of transphobia, so it's so important.
Yeah, and Sajid Javid, the health minister, like you say, made these comments against the advice that's on his own, well, not his, but the government's NHS website, which literally says it's perfectly appropriate for trans men to undergo cervical screening and all the rest of it, refuting the claims that he himself is making, which is... Yeah. Because it's just transphobic dog whistle bullshit, you know?
Yeah. I think the other weird thing that happens in the medical system is, like, when you get blood tests, people, like trans women being asked if they're pregnant, because, like, you know, the high presence of estrogen and stuff. It's like, oh, are you sorry, could you be pregnant?
No,
Yeah,
I'm just fat.
I had that when I had my COVID jab. Is there a chance you could be pregnant? No. Are you sure? It would be a bloody miracle if I was.
But we can always tell, no? Right.
Yes. Okay. Right. So, yeah, it started with Rosie Duffield liking this tweet from Piers Morgan, who, can I just say, is a cunt. Anyway, he seems to... do you mean woman, right? When they say individual. Apparently women aren't individuals now. I don't know. Are women humans? Who knows? And she liked that tweet. She got into trouble for it. And then, like I say, yeah. So she then gets criticism for that and says, just this week's tedious communist pile-on. Which is like some shit you'd expect a Republican in America to say.
Yeah, it's just the communists trying to...
Well, Kevin just knows how far to the right Labour have travelled under Keir Starmer.
True.
Well,
I mean, if you think they're trans rights...
Who's to say
started
that
under Blair and New Labour.
If you think that trans rights are only supported by communists, then... Yeah, I mean, you're pretty fucking far right at that point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that if she didn't know, the hard left do not like trans people. Believe me, I know.
Yeah, there's some Marxist-Leninists who just call trans people the bourgeoisie, so...
Yep.
I suppose it depends what sector of the far left you're talking about. We anarchists, we love trans people, but yeah, you're right. The orthcoms, the ones that everybody's worried about, the trots, they can be a real problem.
The tankoids.
Tanky.
Yeah.
Tankoids, yeah. Sure.
Because they're like, oh, it's a Western degeneracy. What now? What? What's...
Oh yes,
you know, there are
trans of the room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there are trans people
Western
everywhere.
Western degeneracy. You mean like buying all those random CCP flags off the internet? That's...
It's communism if you do capitalism, but for China. So it's fine. Yes, that works.
Yes.
Okay.
My personal favourite is people having a go at like members of the trans community wearing some of the aesthetic of like Soviet like medals and Soviet like army uniforms and stuff like that.
Right.
But if they actually spent any kind of time bothering with that, they would kind of realise that really it is just all in good fun, partially if not entirely because, you know, they're like, oh, this looks good, and as a result they are now a general wearing a infantry uniform, wearing a, you know, navy hat, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if Rosie Duffield thinks that, you know, communists are in bed with trans people, she needs to go and listen to a stream by Caleb Moppet. You know, when he has John T.
God.
Oh, God.
For the Revolutionary Communist Party, who says, I'm nothing against trans people, and then 5 minutes later says, trans people reinforce feminist stereotypes laid down by the patriot... What?
I mean, Caleb
It's a
Morpin...
harsh argument.
Caleb Morpin is, like, pretty much a straight-up Nazbol at this point. Like,
Yeah.
you know, he's in Dugan, and then, like, he's... yeah, no, he's a fucking asshat. I think it's hard to even call him a proper communist anymore.
Yeah. Well, again, it's communism if you work for the propaganda arm of Russia, a capitalist country. That's fine. You're still a communist. Absolutely, it works. Anyway, enough of the Burger King. We don't need to talk of such ugly people. We've got plenty of fucking scumfuckery as it is.
Burger King.
Indeed.
Sorry.
Talking of creatures,
Doesn't he look like a melting thumb?
he does. He does. I just think it must have been a difficult birth. Is my thought. You know.
Does anyone remember the Mary Whitehouse experience?
No,
Yeah.
what was that?
Oh,
Do you remember the Milky?
He looks like I'll tell you what he looks like. He looks like a younger version of, if this is a niche reference for British people, the spitting image puppet of John Major.
I mean, I don't get that. I'm far too young.
Exactly.
For that matter, in my scholarly opinion, I think that Graham Linehan looks like somebody who has missed their plane, and as a result has grabbed onto the, the landing gear, and has had their eyeballs pushed entirely through the other side of their head.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely things we can go
Yeah.
at for other than his appearance. I'm sorry, I'm aware I started it, but
You did start it. You're a bad influence.
You mean like joining lesbian dating sites and pretending to be a woman to prove it?
Yeah, he's just a generally bigoted scumbag who really someone in a supposedly left-wing party probably ought not associate with. But Rosie Duffield went on his YouTube channel, naturally.
I mean, if you're going to list his crimes, like the whole thing with the dating sites was bad, but like his time on Twitter was like way worse.
Just called everyone pedo.
Yeah, well,
Groomer, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
groomer,
like,
right.
groomer. Like,
That never seems to fucking sleep either. Just like
Yeah.
and he would just direct like massive hate towards tiny, like just random trans people on the internet, basically, just big old harassment campaigns. And while I think Twitter is like sometimes it's just a fucking log off or private your account or whatever, right? Like, but we've got Rosie Duffield talking about all the horrible hate speech that she's apparently endured online, all the death threats and whatever the fuck she's claiming. I mean, she hasn't produced any evidence of these, and she said that she doesn't actually feel like she's in any danger. So, but Graham Linehan has definitely made several trans women feel very unsafe with the amount of violent rhetoric that's been directed.
Well, he's also. He's also.
He was actually, from what I heard, he was supposedly targeting trans youth. That's not untypical of TERFs to do that.
Kids as well, yeah.
Absolutely.
Of course he was. There was the Newsnight interview where he was comparing healthcare for trans children to Nazi experimentation.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could argue that comes from a place of concern for children. If I would. No, I completely disagree. I think obviously it's just naked fucking what about the children bigotry, right? But if you were a normie looking at the situation, you could probably you might be able to reason yourself into thinking, well, maybe he has concern for these children, right? But I think that is entirely disproven by the fact that he has used his online presence to direct harassment against literal fucking children, like 16, 17-year-old trans kids.
And I think it's very interesting that he accuses trans people of being quote-unquote dangerous to cis women, when, as far as I'm aware, it was him that went on to Mumsnet and started sending unsolicited dick pics drunkenly to women. And
Jesus, did he actually send dick pics to people?
He did.
There's some allegation, at least, yeah.
Yeah, they told him to fuck off on.
Well, he apologized. Have you not seen the posts of him apologising for that? Yeah, he said he was drunk and lonely and all the excuses, and they told him to fuck off naturally. So it looks like he's kind of the dangerous one, really. Just a thought.
I mean, that's so not rare. The most gender-critical men are super dangerous. There's an example of one guy who got jail time because of stalking and violent beating his partner. And that's a gender-critical person who got likes from very well-known GCs. Protecting women, not really. No.
Drop in your inbox, like. Fucking hell. If his dick looks anything like his face, that'd be fucking traumatic.
I'll be honest, though. Now I want to know, do the curtains match the drapes in terms of malformation?
Jesus Christ.
I'll be honest. Graham, if you want to slide into my DMs, friend, it's nothing sexual, but I do want to see what your cock looks like.
Oh, no thank you.
No, I can't sleep tonight.
Although apparently he prefers unsolicited, so the fact that I've solicited, he might not get turned on by that, I don't know.
All right. I have nothing. I have nothing disparaging to say about Graham Linehan's cock, so I'm just going to say he a cunt.
he is undoubtedly that. That is very true.
I was about to say about Rosie Duffield. She says that militant trans rights activists have been sending her death threats. Well, if that's the case, why aren't the police reporting it? We would have heard if she had reported it to the police.
Hmm.
Heard nothing.
Yeah. No, she's full of shit, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and if there has been, how do we know she's not pulled a Giles Corrin?
Is that an anti-Semitic
no.
slur? What?
No, Giles.
It's a joke. It's a joke. I'm joking.
You know Giles Corrin, don't you?
Yeah.
I remember Dawn Foster getting a very ugly hate thing, and she posted it on Twitter, like including rape threats, the worst. No condemnation of any TERFs, or by any TERFs, of course, because it's only bad if the other side does it.
Okay. For the sake of receipts, Kev, I've shared on the Discord the eponymous message, the grand message that Glenn has put up on Mumsnet. If you just go on the Discord, it's posted. I'm live streaming it, so you can just start watching it so the stream can see, as can all the others.
Oh, okay. Hang on. I need to stop streaming then, so I can see that. Apologies, everybody. This is most unprofessional. Where are we? Boom. Are you?
Maybe I find the Dawn.
Yeah, in this chat.
Yeah, in this chat.
Oh, there we go. Hang on. Yeah, now I'm with you. There we go. Boom. Okay.
There we are. For the sake of it, Kev, as the resident cishet dog, could you please read the message?
I can if I can get it on the screen properly. There we go. A beautiful title regarding the nudes. ...
Oh,
Naturally. Thought I'd try to address this now before it blows up. That's what she said. Yes, I did send pictures of myself to women on here, and yes, I am disgusted with myself. I was drunk, I felt lonely, and you're the only people who seem to stick up for me. So why did you abuse them, Glenn? Oh, anyway. I know that's no excuse, and that what I did was wrong, but I also trust that we can all move past this and continue fighting for what's right for women.
I remember this now you've posted the fucking thing. I
Yeah.
definitely saw this. This was ages ago.
This was,
like
yeah, like 2 years.
4 or 5 years ago?
It was
Was
proper.
it really only 2?
Yeah.
It was proper ages ago. I can't even adequately tell you when it came out because this is the only one I've got, and it's from today. So unless you're willing to go with today.
Anyway, doesn't matter. It's still I agree, Graham. There are some cis men who are undoubtedly dangerous towards women, as you've proven.
Yeah. By the way, Kev.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a grammatical thing.
Go on then.
You said round table, open bracket, banned words, close bracket. It's banned word.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, apparently Terf is banned from.
I would say plague is a banned word.
What? No, Terf.
Yeah, but plague as well.
Plague is banned? What?
Yes, as well as shortage and shit
What?
and bad.
Shortage?
I mean,
what are you talking about?
I'm being facetious, saying that there's loads of different shit, isn't it? Like loads of ways to
Oh,
describe
okay. I'm with
a
you.
lovely island. One of them being, shortage. And
No, but I want to
and
highlight
shit.
the fact that I have been 1984'd. That's what's happened here, people. This is literally 1984.
No, I've been silenced.
I have.
Zero. By the way, Zero, you are absolutely correct. Yes, island has been banned as a word from Twitch. We are soon going to be taken off the ground. Soon.
I think that's mad that you can't put Terf in your title.
Well, it's hate speech.
Yeah, but
yeah.
There's
The chronically
a-
unproductive
Yeah.
neurotic transphobes just don't like it.
True.
Kev, has Calvin rushed to your defence that you've been
Anyway.
bored?
No, but I expect my book deal to come through very soon.
Has he got a book?
Yeah, in
No,
Netflix,
I mean,
please.
I have. I mean, because I've been silenced, so I get a book deal now and talk about how the authoritarian left are doing something. I don't know.
Phone up the Times.
I thought you'd get a TV programme like John Cleese, about council culture.
Yeah, I'm not posh enough.
Yeah, and Chappelle, of course.
God, has he got a TV program now? I don't really watch TV anymore.
Yeah, he's got a he's got a documentary, 40 years after he lost relevance, talking about how cancel culture's bad. But he's going to be doing that on the BBC prime time.
Oh, joy beyond fucking measure.
Yeah.
I'd like to be cancelled too, please.
Just like, I mean, Dave, we'll get onto him later, but Dave Chappelle complaining about being cancelled. Motherfucker, you haven't been relevant for 20 years and you've got a Netflix special. Just wind your neck in. Anyway.
Being back to it, let's carry on. What did Rosie Duffield say to Glenna?
She said a stupid thing.
Is that a joke? What did Rosie Duffield say to Glenna? Is that a joke? Is it a punchline?
Oh, if only.
Yeah, 4 transphobes walk into a bar. Hopefully. Anyway, yes.
Get kicked out because they can't behave themselves and stop passing out transphobic literature. Yeah.
True.
Yep.
Well, anyway, I don't think from this I don't think Rosie Duffield is a doctor. I'll just put it that way.
Anyway, sorry, that kind of...
those decisions, though, guys,
what, did they call her a doctor?
Decisions when you're so young.
Can you hear that?
Be who you want to be. Experiment, you know, do whatever you want to do.
Your screen?
I can hear it on your stream. Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Oh, I forgot to reshare with you. Sorry, everyone. Everyone on the stream can hear it, but you can't hear it because I didn't share with you.
You can see. You can see where 1984 truly lies.
Yeah.
Yeah, between 1983 and 1995. Fuck yes.
Fuck you and knowing that.
Those decisions, though, obviously, making those decisions when you're so young. Be who you want to be. Experiment.
I was trans when I was 4, Rosie. Shut the fuck up.
Cut your body parts off and then render yourself completely infertile.
Yes, but the body parts I don't want.
Wait, I'm trying to hear.
I know. Anyway, sorry, that kind of...
Okay.
I couldn't fucking hear half of that.
Yeah, okay.
Nope.
Everyone, shut the fuck up for 20 seconds. And then we can hear it, and then you can shout at her.
Anyway, sorry, that kind of...
Those decisions, though, guys, I mean, obviously, making those decisions when you're so young. Be who you want to be. Experiment, you know, do whatever you want to do. But to cut your body parts off and then render yourself completely infertile or to make decisions that you cannot ever reverse. That is...
I know. Anyway, sorry, that kind of...
That's not fucking happening. The point of puberty blockers is to give the kids the time to decide. It's a completely reversible treatment. You stop taking them, you have your puberty. That is it. Yeah. No kid is cutting anything off, apart from maybe hair.
True.
And nails.
Yeah.
But again, both of those things can and do grow back. So, really not an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean. I don't think she's a fully qualified surgeon. They just cut stuff off. That's how that works.
At this point, it's debatable if he's a fully qualified human being.
Well,
I mean, here's the thing, right? When somebody says something that monumentally fucking stupid and bigoted, right? Because let's not forget that this is essentially the line of every transphobic fucking bigot ever, right? Lopping things off kids is one of those lies that is spread around all over the fucking place, right? When somebody says something this colossally fucking stupid and misinformed, clearly doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about when it comes to the healthcare of trans children, her opinion should just be fucking disregarded. Like, as soon as she pops up on any fucking media, as soon as she pops up on some news show, starts saying some bullshit about trans people, they should just play this clip and go, hey, that was fucking horseshit, wasn't it? Nobody's doing that. Right? Yes. You lied. You lied and you fearmongered about trans people.
Yes, but the news media aren't that intelligent, and they are also, transphobic anyway.
Well, I mean, I would actually disagree and say that they are, they can be fairly intelligent, if not super well informed sometimes, but they just don't give a fuck about trans people. And we had that WhatsApp group exposed recently, right? Like about the journalists across British media coordinating deliberately to push transphobic articles.
Yeah, and that was the second, right? In America, there was a listserv with 500 important journalists where Jesse Siegel was very widely pontificating about he being the expert and trans people being biased, right?
Jesse Single's a fucking moron too. He doesn't know the first thing about what he's talking about either.
And also, I'd like to point out that as Zero Sen in the chat just said, these gender criticals complaining about kids cutting things off to transition, no one says a bloody thing when it's done to intersex babies constantly.
Yep, that's a good point. And also, can I just point out, they don't chop it off. It's an inversion. Sorry, clever, but that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I want to lop my tits off, but I can't at the moment because in Germany the insurance literally says non-binary people aren't trans enough to get care. So,
do they use a fucking weighing scale to figure that out? What the fuck?
I don't know.
How do they figure out whether or not you're trans enough?
Yeah,
is it like a line? Do you have to be this tall to be trans? Fuck.
I can cite literally says no, not real transsexualism. That's the word they use, right?
Oh, if you weigh the same as a duck.
10 duck-sized horses.
Well, India Willoughby would love the German healthcare insurance industry. Yeah, you know what
Fucking Kev checking his notifications. Look at him.
No.
He's not even paying attention.
No, I was trying to get the next thing up. Shut up.
Well, 2022 we get the ICD-11, so their non-binary people are officially there. So I'm basically waiting on how they will fuck that up.
Dear Kev just tried to silence me there. He told me to shut up. This is in 1984. This is like 1986. It's like at least.
Oh my god! It's the third sequel. Fuck.
Yeah. Bigger, 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 brother. That's what it is. Fuck Big Brother. Anyway, so have we got any more on Rosie Duffield, or have we exhausted that nonsense?
Something that I want to say, and this is going to be more of a larger oeuvre.
You're supposed to just say no, so I can move on. Jesus Christ.
You will take what I fucking give you. I told you last night.
Okay, that sounds like one of those things like, that's what your mum said. Go on, go on.
Anyway, so in any case, basically we was talking a little earlier about the right wing. Well, I don't know if it really goes right wing, but it's like the Terf, the transphobic aspects of the present like Labour shit, like the animus that's going on in the Labour Party and stuff like that. And I think it'll be a very, very good idea to just reinforce yet again that while they are being transphobic and while they are like trying to enforce or demonize or whatever trans people, they're not doing it because of any kind of particular disgust for trans people. They're just fucking sociopaths and they just want power. Like, they just want to hurt people. And they know that hurting trans people...
Well, it was back in...
Lace, I think that's definitely true of the Tories. I definitely think that...
I think that I don't know about it in terms of whatever, but like the fact that Starmer and a lot of people from his bunch are really, really interested in doing like, surveys and shit like that, trying to figure out what they consider to be the normal person likes, and then when it comes back as being be more racist, be more nationalist, be more turfy, and then they decide to follow that line in a kind of cargo idea of whatever, that kind of is just this idea of what just like fucking.
The Tories did that research specifically in 2019 in an attempt to see if they could maybe swing some Labour seats just literally through like transphobic rhetoric. But the
ideology, appealing to people's prejudices,
But we're kind of running off topic a little bit. I just wanted to say before we moved off Rosie Duffield, I think the most hilarious thing about her is actually the Labour Party conference story. Where she complained about these threats that she was supposedly getting online. She said she didn't want to go to the Labour Party conference originally, and that was reported as she's too scared to go to the Labour Party conference because of these death threats from these trans extremists or whatever. She then did an article in the Times because she doesn't want the attention. She doesn't want it to be all about her. So she gave an interview to the Times about it, and said actually she wasn't really in fear of her life or anything, and she just she didn't want to go to the Labour Party because she didn't want it to be all about her. And then she decided to go to the Labour Party conference, and she went, and then she ended up hanging out with, who was it? Was it Labour Women's Declaration?
Yeah, who are
and giving a massive speech to them, and they're the people who wrote that lovely piece of prose about eliminating transgenderism, right?
yeah.
So that is a fun little saga. Didn't want to go, then didn't want to go, but it wasn't because she was scared of all the death threats that she was definitely actually 100% definitely getting, but didn't have any examples of. But and then she did go, but she wasn't going to like make it all about her. And then she did kind of make it all about her, and all these turfy people were in the audience continuously heckling people. And I believe there was at least one Labour councillor who was trans who said that she'd experienced harassment based on her gender identity at the conference. So
I actually wrote about all this. I was going to say my take on the Rosie Duffield saying she wasn't going to conference was that it was all a publicity stunt, and
of course it was.
And the thing is, Keir Starmer went on the Andrew Marr show, and he did say trans women are women, and he said, "Well, I've had a meeting with Rosie Duffield, you know, to try and persuade her to come, you know, say to her she was perfectly safe." And it was like, yeah, it's just a fucking publicity stunt. You're a fucking moron.
Well, he needs to withdraw the whip from her, right? And that's what
I've said. You know, what she has done is far worse than anything Jeremy Corbyn ever fucking did.
The level of bigotry expressed by Labour Women's Declaration and by Rosie Duffield, hanging out with people like Glinner as well, right? The level of bigotry expressed by them should and would get anybody else removed from the fucking Labour Party if it was about any group other than trans people. I think possibly the only other group that would be allowed to be maligned in such a fashion would be our friends in the GRT community, in the traveller community. Who also get the very, very short end of the stick and definitely deserve a lot more support than they get.
Obviously, there were stories. There was a story about I forgot which constituency it was, which was handing out very nasty. Like the Labour Party were handing out very gypsy-phobic literature during the local elections. So yeah, you're right.
I don't even feel comfortable saying the G word, by the way. I try to avoid it where possible. I know they use it for GRT, but like, and some travellers are like perfectly okay with it and claim it for their own, but it's definitely considered a slur around a decent portion of Europe.
But as what you said about Starmer seeming to stick his finger out the window to see which wind the wind's blowing, yeah, that's true as well. And that's what scares me. Because this is a guy who has no principles, no conviction, who just lies. And he was caught out in a lie yesterday where he said that since birth his nickname was Special K in reference to the breakfast cereal.
The breakfast cereal that came out when?
Ketamine.
Also, I didn't know cunt started with a K. Okay.
Like 20 years after he was born?
Mm.
No, it was before. It was
after he was born, even.
It didn't come out before he was born. But the twist is that he said this on Sky, yet it was a few hours before another Sky journalist had asked him, what his favourite breakfast cereal was, and was it Special K? And he said he didn't know what it was.
Jesus Christ.
A logical liar.
How fucking shit a person are you that you can't just come up with a fucking breakfast cereal answer the question? Fuck me.
Right.
What
I'd probably
appalling
say
politician.
Muesli. I'm very boring. I like muesli, okay?
Muesli fucking rocks.
Muesli.
Oh no! You got to get them in the clear bag, that doesn't have any brand on it. Just on the side it says muesli.
Okay, okay. What the fuck is this conversation now? What is going on
You
here?
fucking asked about breakfast cereal, Kev.
I definitely didn't. I definitely didn't.
I heard you. You started us down this road. It's
I
all
wouldn't.
your
I would never ask anyone their opinions because the only correct answer is Cocoa Pops, and you can all fuck off otherwise.
Cocoa.
Pronouns, Fruity Loops.
Don't even start.
With that in mind, in all things.
Anyway, I was about to say, worked at Sainsbury's back in the 90s, and believe it or not, there was a whole load of deaths caused by anaphylactic shock to nuts, and they were actually having to put on Alpen boxes may contain nuts.
Yeah.
Well, that's in a lot of things
That
nowadays.
sounds like one of those fucking urban legends, you know, like the whole dog in the microwave thing in the US. That can't be. It can't be true that people had to be warned that there were nuts in muesli.
No,
People are very stupid, to be fair.
If you want an urban legend is Bob Holness played the saxophone solo on Rafferty's.
Yeah, I remember hearing that one. But
Yeah, that was Stuart McCall that came up with that one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think I might be too young for this reference.
So
yeah,
am I. What the fuck is this shit?
I mean, I'm 32, but this sounds like some boomer shit.
Oh no, that's some super boomer shit. A guy called Stuart McConey, who was an NME journalist, made up the lie that Bob Holness, who used to be a TV presenter, played the saxophone solo on Jerry Rafferty's song Baker Street. None of it was true, but it became a meme. It was a meme before memes were a meme.
Okay.
I don't understand
but yeah,
any
with
of
the-
this, no.
No, that's
But the
fine.
thing with-
It's like saying some. Look, just imagine what I said in black and white. That you're fine. You're good.
Okay.
Imagine it in black and white, right? But when people speak, then there's no noise that comes out, and then it all comes
like
up in a
picture?
sentence on the screen afterwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a famous piece of Ted Lowe commentary about when for those watching the snooker in black and white, the brown ball is behind the green ball.
Yeah, and it was all black and white, so you couldn't tell. Yes. Okay. Anyway, we're talking about trans stuff. Apparently, what's did that stop? When did that
I mean,
happen?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, around about the
muesli
time
is
that
trans
album
culture.
came up. Yeah.
The
Muesli is...
Fruity Loops with the pronouns in America, where the
come on.
religious right got their shit.
Look, muesli is so boring. It has to be the straight people breakfast. I'm just
No,
putting it out there.
cornflakes is it?
Putting it out
Cornflakes
there.
How is
clearly
it
the same.
boring? It's full of so many different things. What's boring, Kev, is having a cereal that is made up entirely of puffed rice and chocolate. Very boring.
Oh, someone's
Okay.
asking to be kicked out of the fucking stream. Okay. That's
Okay,
fine.
fine.
That's right.
Kick
Fair
me
enough,
then.
fair enough,
Kick
fair
me
enough,
then.
fair enough.
Go on.
Just so you know, Kev, you are perpetuating the violence that was visited upon you earlier on in the show.
True.
You're 1980. You have become the villain that you despise.
1986. All right, let's
No,
fucking-
7.
And don't
let's get on with this before we end up in 1988. All right,
Oh god,
that's the,
no.
that's the year I was born, and I don't want to go back.
Oh,
there.
you're younger than. Oh no, you're younger than me.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Only by a year.
Refer to the people in the fucking stream, Kev, for God's sake.
Ugh.
Oh god.
Mother, I'm older than any of you. I was born in '74.
Yeah, you are old. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yo.
true.
beat me by a year.
Anyway, who was definitely older than all of us is Judith Butler. That's.
I had a conversation
Oh,
with
yeah.
her once.
Oh, cool.
Very ill-advised of me. She was looking for people to interview for a book on for her next book. She wanted to talk to some non-binary people about what being non-binary was like, and I, being a younger femme genderqueer person, didn't really know a huge amount about her. I agreed to have a call with her, and I have the recording of it on my computer somewhere, but I was so young that I was really, really shit at these things at the time, and it ended up being recorded double. I've got the audio's like doubled up and one track slightly delayed, and I can't really do anything about it, so it sounds terrible. But yeah, I had this whole fucking conversation with her about non-binary people. She was very obsessed with trying to get me to, quote unquote, admit that like butch feminists could be non-binary, and I was just sort of like, I mean, if that's how they see themselves, sure, like
Yeah.
if they, yeah, I don't really care that much. Like, but she seemed to think it was some kind of massive win, and I live in dread of like that book coming out and the things that we said in that conversation, like being put down on paper there and twisted around in the most fucking awful way. Because I just never should have fucking even bothered to have that conversation with her, honestly. But I was, you know, I was young and naive and silly.
So for the sake of people who might not be in the know, such as me, who is specifically Judith Butler?
She planned and executed the 9/11 terrorist attack. Oh no, that's Osama bin Laden. Sorry, that's a different person. No, Judith Butler. She's a sociologist. Person. Yeah, she's
a slightly worse person.
You know, it was actually Judith Butler who played the saxophone solo.
It was.
All right.
Anyway,
she's a saxophonist said that they were a social scientist. And
she's a social scientist, most well known for coming up with performative theory, which is a thing you probably may have heard of.
That I have heard of,
yeah. So she's quite a well known person. And she wrote a piece for the Guardian newspaper, which is at least in theory a left-wing paper here in Britain, which unfortunately has an infestation of TERFs, it would appear.
And so does the BBC, by the way.
It does indeed. It does indeed.
Oh, wait, no. When I said I'd talked to her, and I was saying about the interview, I was talking about Julie Bindel. Not Judith.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, I was wondering, because I thought to myself, why would she be taking... Because she's like... Yeah, okay. That
Two very different people, obviously. Yeah. Both JB initials.
But
I had a massive brain fart.
It's an understandable mistake, because all white people look the same. So I understand your mistake. That's fine. Yeah.
Judith Butler is not a TERF and is in fact based.
True.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was wondering. I was thinking to myself, that's like, I hope she's just playing like devil's advocate for the sake of the interview, for the thing or something. Like, I didn't get that. I just thought, I'll move on. Never mind. Anyway,
no, I fucked up.
No, that's fine. Anyway, so Judith Butler wrote for the Guardian. I'll retweet this if you want to. You can go and check it out on the thing. But basically, she was calling out TERFs for aligning themselves with the far right, which is undoubtedly true. Yeah. And the TERFs, who constantly love screaming, unironically, that it's 1984 and that they're fucking being censored and silenced, got this piece censored and silenced by the Guardian newspaper.
Now, being the resident, cis, could you please read the entire article for us?
Yeah, well, maybe not the entire article.
Well, I can read the entire bit that was taken out.
Yeah, the bit that was cut.
Okay.
Yeah, that.
It is very appealing and sometimes quite... Sorry, appalling, not appealing, that's a different thing entirely. It's very appalling and sometimes quite frightening to see how trans-exclusionary feminists have allied with right-wing attacks on gender. The anti-gender ideology movement is not opposing a specific account of gender, but seeking to eradicate, quote-unquote, gender as a concept or discourse, a field of study, an approach to social power. Sometimes they claim that sex alone has scientific standing, but other times they appeal to divine mandates for masculine domination and difference. They don't seem to mind contradicting themselves. The TERFs, trans-exclusionary radical feminists, and the so-called gender-critical writers have also rejected the important work in feminist philosophy of science showing how culture and nature interact, such as Karen Barad, Donna Haraway, E.M. Hammonds, and Anne Fausto Sterling, which is an amazing name, in favour of regressive and spurious forms of biological essentialism. So they will not be part of the coalition that seeks to fight the anti-gender movement. The anti-gender ideology is one of the dominant strains of fascism in our times. True. So the TERFs will not be part of the contemporary struggle against fascism, one that requires a coalition guided by struggles against racism, nationalism, xenophobia, and carceral violence. One that is mindful of the high rates of femicide throughout the world, which includes high rates of attacks on trans and genderqueer people. The anti-gender movement circulates a spectre of quote-unquote gender as a force of destruction, but they never actually read any works in gender studies. Quick and fearful conclusions take the place of considered judgments. Yes, some work on gender is difficult and not everyone can read it, so we have to do better in reaching a broader public. As important as it is, however, to make complex concepts available to a popular audience, it is equally important to encourage intellectual inquiry as part of public life. Unfortunately, we are living in anti-intellectual times and neo-fascism is becoming more normalised. Which I think
Judith fucking Bastler.
Yes.
Yeah.
Judith Butler just slamming her enormous knowledge cock on everyone around them.
True. True.
And it's very true. That's an example. Women's Voices, of course, GC account, who defines womanhood just as being objectified, sexualized. So you think GCs hate womanhood more than the people they accuse of hating womanhood?
Exactly. They've silenced an adult human female, which is outrageous. I mean, sure, they were against that, I thought, but apparently not.
Well, they do that all the time.
You know as well as Kev, you know as well as I do. The far right like to talk about free speech, but try, wiping your arse with the Union Jack and saying "fuck Lizzie," and see how pro freedom of speech they are then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's against the flag code. What are you doing? That's
And
You have to ban it, right?
And that's kind of the thing that I was talking about earlier about, when we were talking about that other person. I can't remember her bloody name, but I've forgotten.
Julie
Just the
Bindle?
idea of, no, the other one.
Rosie Duffield?
Yeah, there we go. It's just to do with, it's not, all of this shit, the reasons, the things that they give, the justifications that they give for everything. It's bollocks. It doesn't matter. It's all just reasons. It's all just reasons to have a big stick to hit someone else with your stick, and you just need to have a good stick. That's how I want to simplify their wishes and actions towards.
So to be fair, as awesome as this little piece of prose is, I don't even think it goes far enough. The idea that the TERFs won't be part of the contemporary fight against fascism is obviously something that I agree with. I would say that they won't be a part of the fight against it, but they will probably be a part of the fight for it. In fact, they are a significant part of the fight for it.
Yeah, of course they are. The Heritage Foundation funds transgender trend. You've got Posey fucking Parker going on to a live stream with a self-confessed neo-Nazi.
Chef Gayapi. Not just a neo-Nazi, but a man who literally kidnapped and raped a disabled girl.
True.
So
to breed white children. That was his argument.
Protecting women, by the way, guys. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We need to send men with guns into the women's bathroom to protect women. And that's why I'm talking about this with my friend, the rapist. The fucking white nationalist rapist. Yeah.
Wasn't Posey Parker also, didn't she talk to Tommy Robinson? I think.
Probably.
Yeah,
Tommy Robinson, the one who...
UKIP said they support TERFs.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Tommy Robinson, the guy who was first arrested and imprisoned for punching a female police officer who was off duty, who intervened as he was trying to punch his partner, his fiancée. Yeah. So that person is clearly an ally of women.
And if I wanted to give an even better example, right? Because you could say that the TERFs obviously don't agree with these people, right? Maybe they don't really know them all that well. Blah blah blah. We could just take a very small look at the 11th Hour blog, Jennifer Billick's horrific fucking project of essentially. It's a bizarre anti-Semitic conspiracy site endorsed by neo-Nazis, and she's indeed endorsed neo-Nazis in turn who have praised her work. Talking about how trans people are a product of I mean, the Jewish cabal attempting to push us into a transhumanist society, you know, for the benefit of corporations and Jewish money. And
fucking base
that
Jews.
blog,
base Jews.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It's the whole Tavistock Institute conspiracy theory. Oh God,
that
that's a
blog,
rabbit
that blog, and blog and Jennifer Billick have been retweeted, endorsed, promoted by pretty much every famous TERF and TERF organization in the United Kingdom. I don't think there's a single one that I can think of off the top of my head that hasn't at some point endorsed or pushed Jennifer Billick's dangerous anti-Semitic fucking batshittery, let's call it. I could say conspiracy theory, but that doesn't do it fucking justice.
Bullshit. Yeah, it's anti-Soros, and Rowling's hero, Barnes, also spread the Soros conspiracy that the idea is, I think, because Soros supports Planned Parenthood, and Planned Parenthood has like 1% of trans healthcare, so that's the connection they have made up. And Martine Rothblatt is another example they love to take, and nobody knows her.
Well, as we've got a member of the trans Jewish cabal on the show.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So, what's up?
Oh, yes. You better behave, or I'm going to get out my secret space laser.
Space laser.
Oh yes, please.
Yeah.
Fuck yes. So yeah, is there any surprise whatsoever that the bigotry of transphobia is so easily crosses over into the bigotry of anti-Semitism?
Even more blatantly, I mean, I couldn't understand why no one saw this, but so Nigella Lawson has come out in defence of trans people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the TERFs went, well, she's she's a member of one of the families of the Illuminati, and I went, for fuck's sake, can we get any more blatantly anti-Semitic than saying that? You know,
let them keep going. You know, as far as I'm fucking concerned, I think there's got to be a point at which the mainstream media, the Labour Party, especially, like I said earlier, with all their worries about the anti-Semitism scandal, has to pick up on this shit. Has to recognise that, like, these people are spreading incredibly anti-Semitic fucking nonsense.
There's a video of a TERF in a park screaming and shouting about how the vaccines have been produced by Jewish-owned pharmaceutical company, and that they are helping to turn people trans.
Yeah, I've seen that one too. That was one of Posey Parker's things, actually. That was one of the. She had a whole bunch of events around. I think it was around Scotland, if I'm not wrong.
It wasn't in the video. But if she organised the event, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, you know, Posey Parker. She's a piece of shit.
I mean, she is one of the worst, yeah. But I don't know. I'd say Jennifer Billick's probably worse, actually. But the stuff that woman was saying in the park is nowhere near. Sorry, not nowhere near. It's not that far removed at all from what's said in Jennifer Billick's blog. And like I said, this, you know, you could excuse this as like fringe extremism in the TERF movement if it wasn't for the fact that every single major fucking every single major trans exclusionary radical feminist TERF in the United Kingdom and TERF organisation has endorsed that same blog.
Also, Lauren Hubbard, the New Zealand weightlifter, who faced a tsunami, and it was a fucking tsunami of abuse before she even competed.
Oh yeah, of course.
At the Olympics. After they failed to complete a lift, TERFs were putting it around that she deliberately failed, and one of them said, "Oh, this was a deliberate ploy by George Soros to help spread trans rights around the globe." What?
God.
It's always with the George Soros.
Yes, they love him.
Didn't George Soros recently donate like 200,000 to some LGBT causes? I think, that was a big thing, right? And they were all
the
like,
money behind the transgender.
Yeah, like, oh my god, it's just fucking.
Oh.
I don't know.
I also remember just moving away from the the space lasers are real and Sophia over there has the trigger mechanism and all that shit.
Yeah, the place. Yeah.
Oh. Well,
cheesy anti-Semitism, good account.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's also the thing of this is literally the plot of a Mel Brooks film.
Yeah.
That Spaceballs. It's literally just a piss take plot of
So the more appropriate the thing is, as soon as I heard Marjorie Taylor Greene thing about the secret space lasers, me and Ozma immediately thought of the Mel Brooks sketch from History of the World Part 1, Jews in Space.
Where
God.
Yeah.
Space.
This is the LGB Alliance here, literally comparing the Pastor Niemoller poem, First They Came for the Communists and I Didn't Speak Up, the famous Holocaust poem. And that they're comparing themselves to that. So, I mean, are they the Jews in this situation? Is that what they're saying?
That's what they're saying, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty gross. And they had a stall at the Conservative Party conference. Of course they did. Yeah, good. Awesome.
Did you see the Tory LGBT group were put in Section 28?
Yeah, they were put in Section 28. I couldn't fucking not laugh at that. That was hilarious. I don't think it was deliberate, but I do think it's fucking
I think
funny.
they must have been deliberate. I think that's deliberate.
I think it was deliberate, and I think whoever was outside, whoever has to kind of like be manning the stalls, because I've manned stalls in those kind of like conference places before. It's fucking dire because it's always too hot or too cold. Like it's never air conditioned properly, and you never have enough water. And somebody, at least once an hour, had to have walked up and go, "Why are the gay people in Section 28?" And then start laughing uproariously because it's the fucking Tory conference. They're all sociopaths there.
Yeah. True.
I don't know. I would be surprised if the majority of Tories, Conservatives, whatever, even gave a fuck about Section 28 at this point. There's an awful lot of people who are sort of my age who don't even know what Section 28 was. I mean, I was 15. I was 15 when it was finally abolished, so like obviously I was pretty much schooled under Section 28. But even all those people who were schooled under Section 28, they weren't aware of it, right? Because they weren't aware what they were missing unless you happen to be a member of the LGBT community, and then you do.
It wasn't just schools; it was local authorities.
Yeah, no, it was everything.
So local authorities couldn't support like LGBTQ pride.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was just saying, like, people that you would expect to have heard of it because they grew up under it, like, haven't. It affected gay people horrifically, but if you were a kid, you weren't thinking about gay people because nobody was talking about gay people because everybody was too scared to talk about gay people, which is horrible for gay people, but for cis-het people, it was just like, it's another day, right?
Yeah, about the only time you would hear about gay people at that time was when the kids would say, "Oh, that's gay, therefore you're bad."
Right, it's when they'd call you a faggot and kick the shit out of you. Yeah, that.
Yeah, that would come next.
I remember when there was the very first same-sex couple kiss on EastEnders. And what was 1989 or 1990?
It was 1984.
Wait. What was that one, Kev? Go up a bit. What? Was this the right?
Which one?
The pronouns in bio is the equivalent of Hitler's triangle.
Oh, fucking hell.
We don't have to believe. We don't all have to force
the one that I
trans ideology or label ourselves trans-Reich, trans-totalitarian.
Trans-Reich.
Yeah.
Sure,
because
the ones that I wanted to talk about, the ones that I wanted to look at was the proper fucking like mastermind galaxy brain human being who was like the CEO of OkCupid is like Jewish and supports bi rights.
Yeah,
these two are not coincident. Like that was bizarre.
What?
I was like,
Yeah, this
roll
one,
up,
yeah.
roll up, lad, roll up. It's
Yeah, there we go.
fucking
Yeah,
brilliant. There it is. There it
happy
is.
bi visibility today. This is from OkCupid. So they're trying to get bisexual people into a dating app. Then this dickhead chimes in with OkCupid CEO is Ariel Charatan, who is Jewish. That is no coincidence.
Of course.
They're all out to get us.
You know what?
Yeah.
I would say maybe it isn't a coincidence. I think people who have been oppressed around the world are a lot more sensitive to the oppression of other people. And I think that's good, because we should all be acting in solidarity with each other.
And also, you've got to remember that transphobia is just repackaged homophobia, which is just repackaged racism.
I remember the amount of homophobia that was 20, 30 years ago. And all the arguments being used against trans people now that, it's dangerous, that we're predators upon children and all that bullshit. It was said about gay men back in the 80s and 90s.
The Violet Menace.
Yeah, well, there's the public information films. What Tommy didn't know was that George was a homosexual.
He was a sick man. Yeah.
Reefer Madness really, really went downhill on the 4th season.
Yeah.
Depressing. Oh my god. See, they really love appropriating the language of the Holocaust to describe what's going
Israel are
on.
now making people with green badges to differentiate between those who are vaccinated and those who are not.
It's so fucked up because, when one of the first queer people killed by the Nazis was literally a trans woman, Dorothea Richter, in the attack on the Institute of Sexual Science on Berlin. Wasn't even the official Nazis, just Nazi students killed her. I don't know if she shot her, but Dorothea Richter is one of the first trans women who has gender surgery had surgery and had gotten hormones in 33, which, I mean, Terfs always say trans people are very modern, but
Man,
we
I
already
fucking
existed.
hate Nazis. God, I fucking hate Nazis. Fuck Nazis,
And
dude.
you got to remember that the most famous picture of Nazi book burnings was the burning of documentation from that Trans Institute. Because
The only thing they didn't burn were the list with people with patients, so they could get them into camps.
Yep.
Okay, moving on from the sad section, let's shit on Dave Chappelle. Shall we finally go and beat the fuck out of Dave
Okay,
Chappelle?
before we even do that,
Yes, please.
did you know that Pringles are doing Nazi propaganda?
Yes.
What?
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
I told them to do that.
No,
you know
that's
this.
fair enough.
I
yeah.
told you that I was going to make them do this.
Can I just ask, are we going to talk
Fruity Loops and not Pringles, we're good.
can I just ask, are we going to talk about Kira Bellet?
We can do.
Oh yeah.
Should we save
Kira
Dave Chappelle
Bell-
for last?
Which way?
All right. Yeah.
We'll save Dave Chappelle for last, as that's at
Because
least.
the Kira Bell story is
something.
pretty fucking long.
Well, yeah. Basically, yeah.
Dave Chappelle, if we've got time, because honestly, there's not that much to really say about it. Here, cunt, be done.
Yeah.
I think
He's awesome.
I think, if we've been talking about some pretty grim shit, and I think there's one really cool thing to say about the Kira Bell case.
Go on then.
And, for anybody who doesn't know, I'm sure we'll go over the actual details of it, right, at some point during this conversation. But essentially, as Kev's showing you there, there was a ban on under 16 puberty blockers. Then there was only with permission of the courts that under 16s, and then it finally got overturned. The group of lawyers that helped get that overturned, the Good Law Project, they are in fact now bringing a new suit, I believe, against the NHS for not keeping to the waiting times that are sort of set out in legislation that you should receive.
That should already happen.
You should receive.
Yeah.
You should receive specialist care,
Yeah.
or you should be able to see a specialist within 18 weeks of referral. I think it is. And obviously, as we know, well, I mean, If only it was 3 years. The Tavistock is seeing people from October 2017. However, during the period between October 2017 and now, obviously a lot more people have signed up. So, if they keep seeing people at the same rate that they are now, we're talking a couple of decades before you get to see somebody. Hopefully that's not going to be the case. But this suit is being brought by the Good Law Project, and they are fundraising for it as well. I don't know if somebody can Google that and just get the link for their fundraiser. That'd be really cool if anybody could donate to that, because I feel that as depressing and as much fucking stress as the Kira Bell case caused so many young trans people and just trans people in general, one good thing came out of this. In it being overturned and in the Good Law Project pushing against the NHS waiting times and trying to bring to the general public and to the government and to the legal system attention of how dire a situation we are in here in the United Kingdom with regards to trans healthcare, I genuinely feel like this is, a small glimmer of hope. And I think we should all be super, super happy about that, because it's been year after year after year of repeatedly getting punched in the face from various childhood heroes coming out as transphobic, to court case after court case, to the consistent fucking creep of transphobia even among our left-wing institutions and media outlets. I really feel like I've just spent the last 4 years getting absolutely fucking kicked, right? And I feel like at least we're fucking punching back now. We're getting some victories and we're actually fighting back, and that feels good. So I mean, hopefully they can take it as far as and actually make some kind of difference. But if there's anything positive to come out of this tonight, I think it's that there's hope.
Hopium. Fuck yeah.
There's hopium there's hopium for everything, but there's also a certain amount of shall we say community raising that occurs when we think about these successes, these victories that we have. I'm gonna be a right basic non-bi, and be talking a bit about Philosophy Tube and her advocacy and for everything, and how she's talked at length about how the fact that the country as it sits is pretty shite for trans rights. Go figure. We've been talking about it for the last hour or so, but also it's because as a result, it means that the people have to step up. And it's those kind of things that are vitally important and vitally powerful, I think.
And of course, you got to remember there was the whole thing with Curio when they did their speech at Trans Pride London. And what was it? Andy No was there taking upskirt pictures of her.
Oh god!
Fucking grim.
Andy No wasn't actually there. What happened was the video was sort of put up of her giving her speech, and he then took the part where her skirt flew up and reposted it to his followers because he's a fucking fascist cunt.
Who also provides kill lists
to Atomwaffen. Yeah, that's the meme. Andy No is a danger to our community.
True. The link, by the way, is in the chat for the appeal and for the information about the NHS duty to young people. So go and give as generously as you are able.
Can I come in here?
No.
All right.
No, I'm only joking. Go on.
Yeah, I was about to say, first of all, the case about waiting times, that started before the first Kira of the original ruling, the Kira Bell case. I remember it distinctly because that was the first time I saw in a BBC report the LGBT Alliance being quoted.
Yep.
To which my response was, all right, if you're going to run a story on the Jewish community, are you going to get quotes from the National Front? Because that's what it's equivalent to.
Yeah.
As for the Kira Bell case, me and Kevin did a very long video.
We did, yeah.
On into the Newsnight report. Funny enough, when there was this the decision was overturned in the Court of Appeal, Newsnight didn't mention it at all.
Surprising.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the BBC well, when they made gave itself a prize for an article that uses an inquiry that the journalists did themselves without telling anyone that they used themselves as a source.
And I was going to say, the other thing is, first that Ria Bell was going to be the golden goose that laid the golden eggs. Well, not so.
Yeah. And she turns out to be a bigoted fucker as well.
Well, yeah, I remember when we watched that news article, we both seem to have sympathy for them because, there are one or two people who do regret, gender assignment isn't for everybody. I don't deny that. But the amount of people who regret transitioning is less than 2%, right? Ria Bell's experience is not the experience of 98% of people. Sure, people who regret going through gender assignment should get support. I don't deny that, but I'm saying that you shouldn't change the treatment.
I think it's really important to mention. Sorry, just as an aside from of that, it's less than 2% actually. I think it might even be less than 1%. But of those people who do detransition or want to detransition, the vast majority want to do so for societal reasons rather than that because they think that the transition itself was a mistake because they're not trans, right? It's generally because of some kind of and for those people who do want to detransition, they absolutely need the help and support and stuff. I mean, trans people are incredibly supportive to detransitioners anyway.
You bring up a good case. A good point there. The case of Ria Cooper. Ria Cooper was one of the youngest people to transition in this country. And I remember there was a documentary on Channel 4 made about her. In fact, that was the first time I ever saw Paris Lees on television. And we're talking a long time ago here. They did detransition, but for a while. And then retransitioned. There were problems with the family, okay? Problems with the relationship with the father, from what I could tell. You are right. There are people have there are shall we say, even if you have dysphoria, gender dysphoria, there can be other issues which make you detransitioned.
Being trans in the UK makes life hard. There was that survey a few years ago. 1 in 3 British employers is quite happy to answer yes. Quite happy to answer to a study, right? That they would probably not hire a trans person because it would be too awkward or too difficult or whatever. And that's the people who fucking admit it, right? We have high rates of unemployment, homelessness. It is difficult being a trans person in the UK, and sometimes some people might make the calculation that I want this for myself, but I can't fucking live. I can't support myself. I can't do the things that I want to do in my life and transition because there's just too many roadblocks for me, and that's so fucking sad.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, I'd rather kill myself than have to detransition.
Whoa, let's rein those kind of noises in.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Just think in terms of service.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. No, go on.
The term is Roblox.
Indeed, you have to lie because apparently lying, even though everyone understands what you mean, is fine. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
I can't imagine.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Wait,
Yeah.
It turns out her internet connection has been Robloxed. So
it's 1989.
it is.
Oh no.
No.
We're almost at 90.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, you just cut out for a second. Carry on.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I was going to. I don't want to get you into trouble, Kevin, so I'll shut up.
No, you're okay. No, just be careful with the way that things are worded. Just carry on. You'd rather not detransition or whatever. So yeah.
My life would be you wouldn't like, anyway, one thing I was going to say is that so the Tory, it was what emerged from the Tory Party conference more than anything is that they want a culture war, to wage a culture war against trans people. But here's the thing: I'm a disabled person, right? They've been waging a culture war against disabled people for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, something upwards of 125,000 disabled people died due to Ian Duncan Smith's welfare reform program, right?
Yep.
And that was free. Okay? And they're now going to escalate that as well. Yeah, I know what it's like to be hated from birth, right? Not just for being trans.
Just want to say, not relevant to the point you're making, but I went to the same school as Ian Duncan Smith.
I just want to say, because
Fact.
you know, Sophia said it, and somebody else in chat saying it now. You know, at no point was I saying that like this is a choice that anybody should have to make, or whatever, right? I understand some people couldn't detransition, but like, you know, there are some people who have made the calculation that like going on while transitioning is just too difficult because of the social, because of transphobia, basically, and that they decide to detransition for that reason.
It's the sad like it's one of the horrifying bits of like what transphobic culture does to people. It puts you in that situation where you want to make yourself happy. That's what people do generally. They want to do shit that makes them happier. And then you have to basically like do the judgment. You got to do like a really good word for it is terrible maths. You've got to do the terrible maths about whether or not detransition, like the suffering that you get from that is worse than the suffering that you get from remaining the way things are. And it's the horrible section. It's the bad. It's just the shite. It's the bad bit, isn't it?
It's so frustrating to hear people say that people transition because of social clout. It's fucking bullshit.
That shit's fucking hilarious, honestly.
Yeah,
I was going to say, the most worrying thing to come out of the party is something the LGBTQ news media did not pick up on, but I did, and that's something which Priti Patel said. Now, Priti Patel is an out-and-out fascist. There is no other way of saying it. Okay, she is.
Yeah.
She announced a new raft of measures to prevent people from protesting. She literally wants to take the right to protest away. And under the measures which are going through Parliament already, we could see the end of LGBTQ pride parades if a bunch of fundamentalist Christians got organised and uppity. Seriously, if enough people object in the locality of any pride parade, it could be cancelled under the measures. But she literally does want.
Oh, we'd still fucking do it. I'm sorry. Fuck 'em.
She literally wants to take the right to protest away. We really are in Orwellian territory. It's really fucking scary. But that was the one thing Pink News did not pick up on, and I did. I went, this is really going to, bollocks things up for trans people to, be able to just stand on any street corner waving a placard saying, please don't torture us.
I mean, so did you see that thing about Priti Patel? She had this dude arrested standing outside the Conservative Party conference. He was one dude with a tiny little cardboard sign saying pretty fascist, right? That was it. That was the whole fucking. He was just standing there, quiet, holding that sign outside the conference, and he got bundled into the back of a fucking police van. So
and you probably got. I imagine you probably got arrested under terrorism legislation as well.
Well, come on, bigoted, transphobic shitheads that shout about free speech just love censoring people. Glenna.
Yeah.
Calling everyone groomers and pedophiles. Anytime someone censors him, I'm gonna sue you. I'm gonna sue you. I'm gonna sue you.
I'd fucking love Glinna to see. You know what? If there's any TERFs out there who are feeling particularly fucking libelous, all right, just you know what? Get in a short exchange with me on Twitter. I'll call you a reprehensible transphobic piece of shit, and you can try and sue me, and I'll go to fucking court to prove what a cunt you are.
Yeah, did you see Glinna threatened to sue Laurie Penny for calling him wild?
Freedom of speech.
Yeah, so
The thing is,
beautiful.
I have seen that happen, and I have seen people back down, and obviously I can't tell anybody what to do. That is a lot of fucking stress to go through. His finances are not doing as well as they used to be, but I imagine he still has quite a lot of resources to hand, and he could definitely get more from the TERF community. It would be a hard-fought legal battle. But I genuinely believe that if anybody had the sort of like the funds and the mental strength to stand up to something like that, you would win that fucking case. You would win that case. There's very few things that you can say about Glinna that would be counted, that you would be able to be sued for libel for. Yeah. And I'd love to see somebody do it, honestly.
Knowing the irony of the world. Knowing the irony of the world, it would probably get shut out of the course for mistrial or something like that. Because it would be fucking superfluous. It's every time they try and bring these lawsuits against people, or rather they threaten to sue people for saying you're a transphobic bigot, right? And people do back down, and I just wish there were a few that wouldn't. I wish we could take that shit to court, because every time I think we'd just smash them, and I think more would come out in the court case that would just make it, an absolute shit show, especially with Glinna. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
What's with the Marianne Miller case? Anything happened? Woman won't wished. Remember?
I'm pretty sure she got. I'm pretty sure she got told to fuck off and weeshed.
What does weeshed mean? What is that?
Shut up. It's Scottish slang for
weeshed.
Close your mouth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're always appropriating shit right now. They're appropriating the suffragettes' colours.
Oh.
Yeah, and genderqueer.
You never know, one of them might throw himself in front of a fucking horse and do us all a favour.
In Roblox.
Chance would be a fine thing.
Kevin, TOS.
How is that TOS? I'm not threatening anything. That would be entirely an action upon themselves. That is fine.
Okay.
The fact that I would laugh at it is perhaps a little distasteful, but not TOS. Leave me alone.
True.
I do love the idea that we have more care for the status of your channel than you do.
Oh yeah, I don't give a fuck.
This is truly a fun. No. It's not even I don't give a fuck. It's if this ship is gonna sink, I'm gonna fucking sink it myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fuck it. Look, the internet is a curse. It needs to be taken down. So if I just have to take down my bit of it, that's something.
I don't know. I think your little bit of it is probably one of the better parts, honestly.
Oh, you are a sweetheart.
Well, I mean, I said probably. Don't get too carried away.
I'll take it.
He's desperate.
Vivian.
Yeah,
I think Kev likes you.
What a callback.
Okay. Should we move on to
Before we move on,
okay.
I would like to say one more thing about the original Kiribel trial. Essentially in defence of the UK court system here, because...
Oh, I'm not having bootlicking. No, stop this nonsense.
No, the judge actually came out and said he regretted passing the judgment that he had to do.
Ooh.
He had no real choice, because the Tavistock's defence was just literally non-existent. They had nothing to counter any of the claims. Through their own mismanagement, they didn't have numbers for the trans children that they deal with. They didn't have any NHS accepted research into puberty blockers because they want to do their own research and not take the internationally accepted guidelines and standards.
If they
It's just a
buzz so fast
complete
as
shit
they
show of
treat.
defense.
I mean,
The court had
Lucy,
no choice but to rule the way they had because they had no defense.
so let's be fair, right? Like the Tavistock are a fucking shit show, and
Yeah.
and the gender
Yeah.
identity clinic system, whatever you want to call it, it is not fit for purpose in this country, and it is run by a fuck ton of like gatekeepy motherfuckers, as we saw recently with Helen Weberly's trial as well, right? Like, it isn't fucking fit for purpose at all. But what really fucking got me about the Kira Bell case, and I think at the time I likened it to the Satanic Panic, honestly, because what we saw was, you know, during the Satanic Panic, you would have these quote-unquote experts in Satanism and so on to come to the courtrooms and talk about all the ways in which Satanists committed ritual sexual abuse of children that, you know, just wasn't fucking happening. And in the Kira Bell case, we had this absolute cavalcade of self-declared fucking experts. I think the closest thing to an actual expert on puberty blockers in children was an endocrinologist, a veterinary endocrinologist that they
the
had
sheep
on their...
guy.
Sorry?
The sheep guy.
Yeah.
Well,
That
I
was-
don't see
that was-
children. I don't see children as humans, so I think that counts.
Yeah.
That was
Sheep
But you see them as
endocrinology.
plants.
Yeah.
That was the closest thing they had to an actual expert among their expert witnesses. And I genuinely think, like, I mean, how does the Tavistock's defense fuck that up so badly and not call out that bullshit? But also, how do we have a legal system wherein that kind of thing is fucking allowed? Surely there should be some process by which we determine whether or not the expert witness has experience and expertise relevant to the thing that's being talked about. It was all fucking hacks and people who were involved with fundamentalist Christian organizations and anti-trans lobbyists, right? It was just, it was utterly disgusting. That whole court case was ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't believe they used a sheep expert in that. I can't believe they were allowed to ram that through.
Yeah, it was a sheep expert for a
Ram.
kangaroo trial.
Ram.
Oh, truly, Kate, stop
it was a
bleeping
it
about
was
your
a-
bloody joke.
It was the best pun.
Thank
It was
you.
a great pun.
Thank you.
I was,
Kevin, didn't they call you to give evidence as well? I mean, you're an expert, aren't you?
What? Because I fuck sheep? What?
but I'm pretty sure the sheep guy was the closest thing to an expert they had in the subject.
Yeah, they got
And that's
legal fight
I
against
linked it.
puberty blockers cited a study of sheep in its arguments and 5 other things you should know about the case. Yeah. Fucking hell. That is grim.
And that's why I likened it to the Satanic Panic, because it's a very similar situation. And I think we see these things play out again and again. The character of moral panic really isn't that different from Panic to Panic, really.
During the whole satanic panic in the 80s and the whole Judas Priest trial, first of all, I think you should be put on trial for listening to Judas Priest.
How? Get out. Get out.
Wait, didn't one of them turn out to be a chomo too?
A what?
Child molester.
Oh,
No, not
The Judas Priest guys.
I didn't realise there was a shortening for that phrase. I was like, Choma. I was thinking YOLO. And I was like, that's not right. That's definitely
No.
wrong.
ScoMo.
A pedo, Kev. A fucking pedo. Didn't one of them turn out to be a pedo
I-
for Judas
Wasn't
Priest
that the
guys?
Was there? I
Profit.
don't know. They've got like 2 songs they made that I like. That's about it.
The lead singer Rob Halford came out as gay.
Didn't he die recently?
No, he's still alive.
Is
I'm
that-
definitely not thinking of somebody who just came out as gay. I'm gonna look this shit up.
Anyways, no. So during the you remember that Judas Priest that they were dragged into court because apparently 2 kids had listened to their record backwards and it's meant to have had a
Oh yeah.
the message commit suicide.
Asking.
I always remember Bill Hicks's response to this. Oh dear, that's the last 2 gas attendants in the world killed.
Okay, here we. So
awesome.
yeah, Dave Holland is a convicted sex offender. What the
dear.
fuck did he do though? Was
Who's
he actually a pedo, or did he just like rape somebody? He's spent 8 years in prison for some sex offence. I'm trying to find out what sex offence now, but I wasn't wrong. It was the drummer, and of course it was the drummer because it's always the fucking drummer, all right? Drummers are scum.
Yeah, what's the difference between a drum machine and a drummer?
There isn't a fucking difference. They're not even real musicians. What the fuck?
No, you only have.
I feel personally attacked.
Also, but in good news,
What do you call a guy that hangs around with musicians? A drummer.
Anyway, the good news is that Dave Holland, the Judas Priest nunce, is dead. So
The age of 69.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, Dave Holland. Okay. 2004, arrested, later found guilty by a jury of 1 count of attempted rape, 5 counts of indecent assault against a 17-year-old male with learning difficulties at his home against a boy to whom he had been hired to give drum lessons.
No, for fuck's
Every line just insistently gets worse with that one. Fuck my life. Jesus.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, like legally actually a pedo.
But actually dead, so hopium.
I mean, good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
And as far as satanic panic in the 80s, when I was at school, I was into heavy metal and D&D, and my head of year was a fundamentalist Christian who, in response to me being bullied and beaten the shit out of on a weekly basis, was asking my mother if I was burning black candles and...
To the person in chat who was asking, I believe Section 28 was repealed in the last place. Was it like the Isle of Man? And I think it was in 2006.
Yeah.
So it was finally repealed in the last place in England in 2006, and I think that last place was the Isle of Man. It might have been one of the other little islands, but it was basically got rid of in the mainland UK in either 02 or 04.
02, I think, because I remember looking it up and thinking, like, because I finished school in 2003, and I remember thinking to myself, so I did most of my schooling with that in place.
Yeah. And you, as a cishet guy, didn't fucking notice it at all, I imagine.
Not het.
So that just illustrates my earlier point about it. Yeah.
Can I please tell my drama joke?
Just to call back on it. Just to call back on it. Not het.
Not het.
Not het.
I've got to fight my.
Did you miss
my boyfriend's?
Yeah. Did you miss? Did you miss my coming out?
He's one of us.
Mix.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry, Kev. I forgot. I'll just say cis dude.
But I mean, okay, yeah. No, well, I'm cis and white though, so I mean, come the revolution, I get the wall. Yeah.
I mean, as far as you knew, as far as you knew, you were a cishet dude at the time.
Yes.
So like,
yeah.
So it wasn't something that was like super.
No, but I just no, it didn't. No, absolutely not. No, but I just remember thinking that's really they couldn't even really talk about it. What? It's just fucking really weird. It's such a strange law, actually. Not just the homophobia of it, but just the weirdness of saying you can't even discuss it. What? Mad shit.
Utterly mad. But then this happens regularly. It happened with socialism and communism too. Where and it's happening now in the United States with critical race theory.
True.
I am determined to tell this fucking drama joke.
Okay, fucking tell us your fucking drama joke. Holy shit.
What's the difference between a drummer and a drum machine?
Go on.
Nothing.
I feel like I should.
You only have to punch the instructions into a drum machine once.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, that was worth waiting for. Fuck me.
Yeah, thanks for that.
I regret every second of this show in retrospect because of that. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, but to add info in chat, basically, I don't really see a massive difference between bi and pan. I just use bi because people tend to understand what that means. You don't have to explain
You're
it.
pansexual, are you, Kev?
Pardon?
You're pansexual.
I see it as basically the same thing as bisexual, really.
Some people do see a difference.
Well, maybe they do, but I just, like I say, I just go with bi because it takes less explaining to like normie cunts.
It's a personal decision. It's a personal decision as to how you describe yourself in that term.
For someone I identified as pan before coming out as ace, the way I saw the difference between bi and pan, pan is performatively more gender inclusive, trans inclusive, but functionally the difference is bi people are attracted to people of multiple genders, whereas pansexual people are attracted to people regardless of gender.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I use the definition of pan of same and different gender, so it's...
Well, this is the thing. I don't really care so much about gender. My standards are low. I will fuck anything.
Maybe I'm like super fucking...
ignore that.
Maybe I'm like super fucking regressive or whatever, but I have always, like, I didn't even give my pronouns out at the start of the show, did I?
No.
And I think I forgot, basically because, like, most of the time, just don't call me fucking he, okay? And my attitude to, like, sexuality and gender in general has just always been, I don't care if you're hot or fuck you, and don't call me he, right? That's, do you know what I mean?
See, that's what I like. A simple woman of simple tastes. Good.
Some people, see, I told you Kev fancies me, but like,
no complications.
But I know some people are like really tied to and attached to like their gender identity or their sexuality or whatever, and I don't want to cast any aspersions on them, but like broadly, I've often been of the opinion, with myself at least, that it just doesn't fucking matter. Like, I'm me, right? Like, I don't give a fuck for all the other shit.
Exactly, yeah. Some people are very attached to those sorts of things, but it seems to me like you should... I think there's a point underlying the thing you were saying there, that you shouldn't reduce people down to that just because they're of X group or whatever. Like, they can still... Like, people do this all the time about, like... I don't know, trans people or whoever, but you get people like, say, Blair White, who is a trans person, but I don't see as functionally any different than any other transphobic piece of shit. I don't care that she's also trans.
Somebody else I used to hang out with as well, by the way. Before she started making YouTube videos and became a complete bitch.
Oh, okay.
But like,
so is she just griftoid then?
Well, I mean, so the only thing that I can say about Blair is that so she said this publicly. I'm not revealing anything private. A significant portion of her family like completely rejected her, right? Just told her to fuck off when she came out as trans, and that's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, she spent I'm trying to remember when we were on that forum together, but like 2012, 2013, whatever, she spent scouring the internet looking for a place where she could be accepted and stuff. And she started making YouTube videos. One of the first videos she made was a video that was like, it was about how she'd experienced life being seen by society as both a man and as a woman, and how there were, you know, being a woman wasn't all bad and there are some advantages. And this is very much in the wake of Gamergate, right? So she got absolutely fucking love-bombed by the anti-feminists and shit. And instantly her videos became a lot more sort of like right-wing, and she sort of went in that direction. Well, I mean, if I had to, you know, she definitely made a decent amount of money out of that shit. I'm not going to fucking lie about that. But, I mean, she was already a fair way into a transition at that point, and it did seem like she wasn't hurting for money at the time. And you know, that's only my judgment from, like, knowing her at the time. Like, I have no idea what her income was. Like, maybe she was poor as shit. But... I think the point, the only point I'm trying to make is, I think Blair is a really fucking tragic story of somebody who looked for acceptance in all the wrong fucking places, got love bombed by absolute fucking assholes, and thought that she would find acceptance there. And I think if she sold out and if she's grifting for anything, I don't actually think it's money. I think she's grifting for attention and admiration.
That's so sad, right?
Mm.
Thing is,
I mean, they hate her.
People that will never fully, truly accept her.
Yeah.
Just scraps from people who despise you.
Well, exactly.
Again, this is all complete.
Well, did you see the discussion she had with, was it Lauren Witzke or whatever, that horrible fascist?
Yeah.
It was literally saying like, you should grow out your mustache and stop pretending or something.
Yeah.
You're like, this is the people you've allied yourself with, and she just sat there and took it. She didn't like say "fuck you, bitch" or anything. Like, she just sat there. It was pathetic.
Like Debbie Hayden too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dr.
She sits there and people call her a disgusting pervert to her face, and she's totally nice to them. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dr. No Fly just sitting there in the corner laughing at it.
But that's what I mean about it being a tragic story, is that she gets so much fucking abuse, you know, and there's no way that shit can't hurt.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way that shit can't hurt.
I was going to say,
I feel sorry for
first of all, I
that.
knew somebody who actually went to university with Deborah Hayton, who's also trans. They've known her a long, long time. They don't say much about her. They just said that they knew her. But the other thing with a lot of true scummers, seems to me, is that they're projecting. They're projecting their own insecurities. You know, India Willoughby is a class. India Willoughby particularly is a classic case of that. She you know, she's going about saying you're not trans. She literally. India Willoughby literally challenged me on an open forum about why it was I hadn't had, you know, bottom surgery. Well, that's none of her fucking business, you know. It's like we have to, true scummers. It's like they have to sort of carve out this like arbitrary line so that they can have their VIP fucking club. And
because they did it. I'm sure.
I'm one of the good trans, actually. It's all the other trans. Just like Ben Shapiro does, trying to get in with the alt-right by pointing out the bad Jews, right?
Yeah.
It's the same shit.
So, Ohana, you were going to say something about Blair. What was that?
Sorry.
I was interested.
Yeah, I was specifically about Blair. I was going to say, yeah, I do feel some sympathy with her for that, but that flies right out the window with the way she just absolutely shits on every other trans person. Like when she went on that stream with Calvin Garra to just absolutely vile.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that anybody should feel sorry for Blair White. I just think this is my perception of her, and I think empathy, right? Not necessarily sympathy, but empathy, sort of understanding how people are feeling and why they do the things that they do. I think that's a really important part of every story.
Yeah, I'm completely there with you on that. It's just.
I was going to say, there's 3 videos with Blair. I remember the first one is the one she did with ContraPoints before she was known as Natalie, when ContraPoints was identifying as genderqueer. And ContraPoints would bring something up and say, and Blair would say, "No, I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that." The second is the video she did with Kevin Logan, with Kevin, our Kevin.
Who's this cunt? Who are you talking about? Who's he? He sounds like a wanker.
She turned up an hour and a half late, and then proceeded to complain for the rest of the video that Kevin had called her a cunt. But the video the person who actually managed to get the better of her was Vosh. He tried you did say, and she went, "No, I didn't." And then he picked up on something she said within the conversation he was having with her, and literally ripped her apart. Vosh is quite good at, when he's on form, he's quite good at doing that.
Sure, but I think platforming these people in the first place is kind of dumb. Anyway.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All I can
are we going to shit on Dave Chappelle? Or are we
let's shit on Dave Chappelle.
Yes,
Go on then.
Come on.
Okay, so Dave Chappelle says, I'm on Team Terf. Discuss.
Team cunt.
Yeah.
So,
Dave Chappelle recycling Magdalene fucking Burns. Yeah.
Ugh.
Gender critical see trans people as doing the same as white people do in blackface.
Well, you say recycling Magdalene Burns, but she's already been buried, so technically she's compost. You know.
True.
Only best good thing she did.
The turf brainworm's got her.
So
True.
I'm honestly a bit interested in other people seeing what exactly is the pro J.K. Rowling stance that Dave Chappelle has chosen. What kind of hill has this prick decided to stand on?
Oh, the
Well, I can read you the exact quote from the Netflix special if you wish.
Well, I'm pretty sure what he said about J.K. Rowling is that he thought that the Harry Potter books were an excellent allegory for white supremacism.
Almost.
I think that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean he mocked trans women for. I'm pretty sure he mentioned Adam apples. He definitely mentioned chins. He talked about voices, and then he went on to say that he was on Team Terf, right?
He did. He also said that he was like if he tried to be Chinese and then did a slit eye bit and started saying and then did like a Chinese accent saying I'm Chinese. So that's a thing he did because apparently it's 1975.
And completely miscategorized J.K. Rowling by saying that all she said was gender is a thing. Which is
gender is a fact.
Absolutely
the
opposite of what she was saying.
Well, I'll read the exact quote for everyone. He says, so I'm not going to do the accent because that would be a bit racist, but they cancelled J.K. Rowling, my God. Effectually, I'm not sure that's a word, she said gender was fact, the trans community got mad as shit, they started calling her a TERF, I'm Team TERF.
And he goes on to say gender is a fact. Every human being in this room, every human being on Earth had to pass through the legs of a woman to be on Earth. That is a fact. Can
I just say cesarean section? Can I just say cesarean section for a start?
That also happened. Yeah. I maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm on a panel with a bunch of trans people right now, but I'm totally okay with the idea that gender is a fact. I think it is a fact. I think gender definitely exists.
And even sex exists, right?
Sex is real.
Yeah.
You know, we're very aware that sex is real. That's
because I get fuck ton more of it than most TERFs.
Hey-oh.
But biological sex is real. You know, I'm very aware that biological sex is real. You know, I see the effects of my biology every fucking day, and it causes huge amounts of dysphoria. I know sex is real.
Yeah.
Fuck off!
I know that as well. I was going to say, Bill Myers also made jokes about trans people in disparaging.
Of course.
Bill Myers a piece of shit too.
Yeah.
Yep.
But Dave Chappelle is black, and it's like, Dave, you wouldn't like it if people were racist towards you. Don't be transphobic, you know? It's just...
Well, he attacks gay people in there as well and says, it's okay if you go around killing a black person, but heaven forbid you upset a gay person or something. And you think, that's not a dichotomy that needs to be a thing. You're just being ridiculous.
So, apparently... And I haven't actually seen the whole thing, but somebody I trust tallied it up, and apparently he spends 40 minutes of this 50-minute special talking about the LGBT community.
Yeah, it's a sad. It's honestly a sad. It's a sad thing. Like, I am not going to speak about the civil rights actions in America and all that shit. However, there is a very big power to Dave Chappelle's previous special, not this one that just came out, his previous one where he talked about why he shut down the Dave Chappelle show and why he came back in talking about,
Didn't he make a helicopter joke in that one as well, though? Pretty sure he did the attack helicopter meme in his last special.
Of course.
Maybe. But if that's the case, fuck him.
I know he said
then
something
again, fuck him now.
in the last
I mean,
special.
alphabet too.
And genuinely, I think that's what's happened, right? Is so he said something transphobic in the last special. Can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But I think this happens with a lot of people, right? I think what happens is you get some fucking idiot who doesn't know shit about trans people say something that's like sort of regular normie level transphobia, right? And they get challenged on it. And one of two things happens. If you're a decent fucking human being, you go, well, shit, how have I upset these people by saying that, right? And you go and look at stuff and you speak to a few people and you go, oh, shit, I'm really sorry, I fucked up there. And they become, you know, more educated on the issue and maybe even an ally down the road, right? Or they get full on fucking defensive and go to every corner of the internet that they can find to try and find people who are going to validate them and back them up and say, no, that's not transphobic, you're just speaking sense, mate. Yeah, exactly. The same as fucking Glinner. Yeah. When Glinner did that IT crowd episode, and he got shat on for it, and he went full fucking to. I think there's two kinds of people who just like, you know, one will go one way and one will go the other way, and I don't really know how you fight that. I think some people would say that we have to be more careful, considerate, and like informative in our criticism of people when they make sort of lesser transphobic statements or normie transphobic statements. I wouldn't. I'd say, I shut the fuck up. Like, it's not our job to like stop the world from being fucking horrible to us. But I guess I'd be interested in your ideas on how you think we should react when somebody says something normie level transphobic. I'm not talking deep turf rhetoric. I'm talking maybe some dumb helicopter joke or whatever, you know, something that's really common among the normies.
I'll be right honest. Like, this is just to the thing of what we was talking about before. Like, what I was talking about before. I straight up didn't know that there was any kind of helicopter joke thing going on there. I missed it when I watched it. I watched it months ago. When the fuck was it? Like 6 months ago or something like that. Time is just elongated for me to a massive degree. I just don't remember a lot of it. I just remember that there was a lot of shit about there. That was, you know, it was during the George Floyd riots. It was very much while COVID was going around, and I remember there being like an evocative feeling of rawness and like honesty and stuff like that to his shit. That was pretty cool. And the fact that he did the helicopter joke, I mean, fucking. Whatever, we already established that he a cunt. The fact that he was a cunt before now is, you know, just means that, like, you take the point where you kind of like, I lose respect for you, and you move it backwards, isn't it?
I guess. So I was going to say. Go ahead. I was going to say, and what's particularly sad about this is this was produced by Netflix. Netflix also produced a documentary called Disclosure.
And that was good.
That was the first time that trans people on their own talked about trans trans representation in media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Disclosure is really good.
Yeah, go and watch that. That's one thing I would suggest to any normie.
And in Backlash, the trans creator of Dear White People has quit working with Netflix.
I do remember. Yeah.
I was going to say also, you know, what makes me chuckle is that you have all these TERFs.
Can you not use hate terms on my stream, please? This is outrageous. What a slur!
All right, you have all these transphobic cunts.
Thank you.
Typing out on their mobile phone hate about trans people, not realizing that the ARM chip which powers their mobile phone was designed by a trans woman by the name of Sophie Wilson.
And that's how they get in, through the microchips. That's how they turn. That's the forced transness. That's how it's going to work.
That's how it is. Congratulations, Kev. You discovered it. We're going to force fem you using 5G.
Here we go. Somebody in chat told us what he did in the older episode, and he actually did do a Glinner. He closed the subject with an imagined scene about a trans woman tricking a man into having sex, a familiar transphobic trope. Throughout,
Right.
they've used the slur tranny instead of trans. There you go.
Of course.
Before we
Oh,
go,
That's me. That's
Oh,
me with
funny.
a Mark-Rocking face. Well, there we are.
So before we go, there's one thing I wanted to bring up. It's not trans, but it is diversity related, and that is Rosie Jones's appearance on Question Time on Thursday. Rosie Jones is a stand-up comic who has cerebral palsy to a greater degree than I have it, and she has a speech impediment, and she got a tsunami of fucking abuse on Twitter, and her response was to say, well, this isn't a surprising, it's indicative of where this country's at the moment.
Wait, what was she getting abused for again?
Well, just ableist abuse.
Was that it? Like,
She's a
she just
comedian.
got, like,
She's a comedian with cerebral palsy on Question Time.
Yeah.
Like just from some fucknut's perspective, that's enough reason.
Yeah.
Oh, so it wasn't anything she said.
No.
Just how.
But she did say probably the truest thing on the show, which was that Boris Johnson's speech was very Trump-esque. When it was. I watched it.
She's not wrong. Yeah.
And believe it or not, I couldn't. This really just blew my mind of how sad people can be. There were people who queued up from 5 a.m. in the morning to watch Boris Johnson give his conference address.
Holy shit!
Jesus.
Another piece of positive news to end on. I just noticed that I have more Twitter followers than Kevin Logan. So go me.
Fuck yeah.
One of my just one of those people that I used to watch occasionally on YouTube and think he seems like an okay chap, and now I'm there. I've made it.
To be fair, I am on my 4th Twitter account.
You can't let me just have this one.
No, I can't. No, that's not how it works. Okay, I'm not going to have my Twitter following. And by the way, the fact that you've got more Twitter followers just shows that democracy doesn't work.
This is no way to court a lady.
Anyways, I've got more Twitter followers than Kevin, and I hope all you cunts are going to be following me. After this show.
No, specifically go and unfollow all of these dickheads and follow me. Okay.
Hey Vivian.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Kev is jealous of you.
Wow, that sucks.
Mm.
I'm sorry. I'm pretty much.
Isn't fucking everyone though?
True.
Right.
All right. I've got one thing which is a mild funny. This is something that I thought we should put up for everything because it's got a little twist.
Well, I've got one thing that's very funny, but I can't show it on screen. So.
Oh, good. Kev.
Well, I've got
Kev,
something.
Kev, could you show the thing? This is Reddit being a bit fun
Well, hang on,
for trans people.
What
is
Reddit?
What?
Fun?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What am I
Like,
supposed to be
if you go
showing? What am I showing?
Okay, on Discord.
Yeah.
There's a stream.
Oh, watch the stream.
Live. Watch the stream. Yeah, it's really quick.
There you go.
Yeah. So this showed up yesterday. It showed up on people who saw Kevin and Christie's happy hour and shit like that. I was out in semi-boy mode tonight, and some drunken Scottish guy walked up to me in the street and said, "Hey pal, you trying to be a lassie?" And I was just like, I guess, super embarrassingly. And he said, "Oh well, good on ya. Don't let a cunt tell you who you are. Be yourself." That's lovely. That's a nice feeling to have in the moment.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful feeling. And just because Reddit is the way it is, they decided to make a little meme of it. There you are. There's the demo man.
What the fuck? Is that a suicide vest? What?
Don't let any cunt tell you who you are. Be yourself.
No, so just for the sake of it, this is a Team Fortress 2 avatar who is called the Demo Man, and just for the sake of it, he has been claimed by the trans of Reddit as being
I thought
I
thought that was a suicide vest. I thought they were doing like an Al Qaeda thing or something. What the fuck?
No.
Grenades.
No. If anybody is interested take it in mind. Take it in mind that this is that you know, like, this is Reddit, so it's still a bit shite. Yeah, the r/trans.
Oh god,
subreddit
yeah, it
is a very
Yeah, it's
fun. It's a very fun.
How many A's is there?
fun.
How many A's?
No, there are 5 A's and
5 A's.
6 N's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to misspell it, you know.
Right.
Yeah, well.
And I have a suggestion to end the show, as Kev has recently become a fan of Jordan Roskopoulos. In the Twitter chat, I've shared a video, which is basically her with her old band, and the song that they used to open the shows to right after she came out as trans.
In the Twitter chat.
Yeah, the Twitter chat for
You mean
this
Discord?
Discord, even. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that would help. Thank you. Okay, what's this? No, that's the wrong link. I'm pressing the wrong
The
link.
elephant in the room.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Where is it? Hang on.
Are you calling me fat?
Well, I like them fat, so it's all good.
Elephant in the room's a bit much, though, isn't it?
Well, the elephant in the room is just going to be the name of my autobiography. Okay, so I need to share with y'all. Where are we? That one. Elephant in the room. Boom shakalaka. Let's do this.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. Before we begin with the comedy, there's something that you need to know. Things are a little different since the last time we were here. One of us has gone through some changes, might be strange, but it's nothing to fear.
Oh, I remember that.
I've seen them do this live. I saw them in London. It was awesome.
Do it with a sense of humor, so there's no mistaking identity for a costume. We think it's best to point out the elephant in the room. Yes, Lee is bald. He's a bald man with a bald head. Yes, Lee is bald. The man with hair you once knew is dead. He wasn't bald before, but now he is bald. How strange, how odd, how queer. Lee is bald. Ever since he was a child, Lee's been thoroughly aware that he's been a bald man all along, trapped inside a man with hair. Now he's come to grips with his identity. He is whole, he is secure, he is happy, he is free. Yes, Lee is bald. Just take a look at that head. Yes, Lee is bald. Shiny and pointed like an egg. He's kicking ass with his bag. How strange, how odd, how queer. Yes, Lee is bald. Lee is bald.
Hey Lee, now that you're bald, is your voice gonna change?
No,
Hey, now that you're bald, which bathroom do you use?
I use the bald man's bathroom.
Lee, now that you've got no hair in your head, does that mean that you like guys now?
Well, androgenetic alopecia has nothing to do with sexual preference.
How long's it gonna take before you're fully bald?
Great question. And you know what? I'm not even sure. I lost a few more hairs this morning, so this isn't even my final form.
Hey, Lee, now that you want to be bald, are you going to cut your dick off?
None of your fucking business. Yes, I am bald. He's proud and he is fierce. Yes, I am bald. I am bald. Look at my head. If you've got a problem, then fuck off out of here. I'm bald. I am bald. He is bald. Oh, and also Jordan's a woman now. Alright, Sydney, come on, let's make some noise!
That is delightful.
Wonderful.
And on that bombshell.
Very nice.
Wonderful.
Do we do outros on this, or can I just fuck off?
If anyone wants to plug a project or a thing or themselves or something, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. Once again, please go and read my stuff at Sophia Christine. Please go and read my stuff at sophiachristinabotha.com. I need the readership.
Go and read.
Yeah, my
Although you've come to my audience who are mostly illiterate, so I'm not sure this is the right audience for you. But I mean, you know, they can try.
And please follow me.
Look at the pretty pictures, you know.
Yeah. Please follow me on Twitter at Sophia Botha 74.
Yes.
Yeah, I shilled out all my things at the start of the show, but I will just add one more thing. If you like the degeneracy of D&D, don't forget you can join me on Christie's show on Sunday afternoons on her D&D channel.
Cool. I mean, not cool, but you know, I'm glad you said it.
Okay.
Anything else? Anyone?
In about 45 minutes, I'm going to be in a D&D show again with Christy. It's the usual thing, rolling left. Go over there, have fun with it. I play a gelatinous slime who is a lot of fun.
Based on me, is it?
No. Based on Rory in my mind.
How dare you? He is svelte. He winters well. Leave him alone. Anyway.
And I am Mix Vivian Wolf, historian, anti-fascist, extremist, and cult researcher. Please follow me on Twitter because I've been off ill recently, and I'm just recovering and coming back to streaming. And I really like to get interviews with experts in the field of cult extremism and so on, research. And the more followers I have, the more clout it gives me, and it's easier to arrange interviews. So if you can follow me on Twitter, that'd be fucking great. Plus, if enough of you do it, I can like double Kevin Logan's followers, and that'd be even fucking better.
Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. I'm gonna take that back.
I've got quadrupled the amount of followers that Kevin has on Twitter.
Again, I will point out, fourth channel.
Fourth
account. That's like saying that. Oh, I beat a guy in a 100-meter race. He had all of his fucking limbs cut off. Like that's not exactly a donk, is it?
You literally made this account. You made this account in 2017.
No, I didn't. I tell you what, and I'll tell you I can prove this because that's technically used to be Christie's account. Okay. My IP got banned, so she had to give me her burner account to use. So that's now my account.
So what you mean to tell me is that throughout all of this you've been perfectly fine up until this point. This is the thing that finally breaks your back and causes you to fly into a rage of having to defend your manhood.
Yes, because I'm not having lies told about me. I didn't set this account up at all. I had to steal it off a friend. Leave me alone.
Activation. Right.
Vivian, before we go, just one quick question for you, because you take an interest in cults. Is libertarianism a cult?
Libertarianism? I mean, what are you talking about? Are you talking about those weird right-wingers that think they're libertarians but actually aren't?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I think there can be. I think there are libertarian cults, but I wouldn't call libertarianism a cult.
IDV?
If you change
IDW?
If you change the L to an N, then yes. Libertarian cunts. Libertarian cunts.
Oh, I see. Yeah. You see, there's two L's there. Like,
there's two L's, and I was like, okay.
I was like, what the fuck is
Libertarians? Libertarians.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay,
I don't know. I don't know.
No one knows, Kev. Let's just
I'm going to raid into Ravana, go and say hello, otherwise I'll knock you the fuck out in Roblox. Anyway.
Quick, run away.
Okay, thank you everyone. Go and follow all of these people, but unfollow Mix Vivian Wolf on Twitter and follow me. That's just a fact. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.
We're done.
I think that went okay, didn't you?
Yeah, that was alright.
That was alright.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did you hear my cats? My cats were